In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the blower motor on this Ford F-350. It's located on the passenger side of your dash all the way in the back behind the glove box. Let's get started. Right here is where we're going to access the blower motor, like I said, below the glove box. However, we have to remove two different control modules. The transfer case control module, if you have four-wheel drive, and the body control module, which sits on the side of the kick panel here. The reason we have to do that is because that is the blower motor right there, and it has to slide down and out. That body control module is going to be in the way, and that transfer case module will also be in the way. In order to correctly do this, we have to disconnect the battery, so let's start there. On the rear side of the battery, closest to the firewall, you'll find your negative battery terminal. Use an 8mm socket or wrench and loosen the mounting nut that holds this terminal down. Once it's loose enough, you should be able to wiggle it, pull it right off the battery. Set that aside. Now back inside the truck, we have to remove this kick panel here, and we don't have to remove the entire sill panel that sits at the bottom. We just have to lift up the front to unlock the kick panel. You might have to pull out on the door seal, and then you just pop this right out. This cover comes off with it as well. Set those aside. Now let's pull the carpet away so we can create some space for us to work with, just like so. Now let's focus on removing the body control module, which is this. This cap I'm going to take out of the way. There's a fuse tap in here. I'm going to remove that just because the wire is attached to the truck and, well, I have to remove the body control module. And at this point I want to unplug and unhook any wires that are here. I'm just going to start with these main connectors. There are two 7mm screws that hold this on. Let's remove them. All right, take this out, and there's your body control module. And now this will only apply if your truck has four-wheel drive. This one does, so I have a transfer case module that I have to unplug and remove here. This has two 10mm headed nuts that we have to take off. And there's the second one. At this point, we can remove the transfer case control module. This gives us plenty of space to now remove the blower motor. You have the main connector here. So press on the tab that's on the back side and pull it down to unplug it. Pull this wire down and push it out of the way. And then there are actually two pieces here. So there's the blower motor, which gets screwed on here onto this adapter ring, which we also have to remove. That's the only way we're going to have space and clearance to remove the blower motor from the heater box. Let's use a T20 Torx bit and remove the fasteners that hold on the blower motor onto this adapter ring. And in this case, this screw actually holds on both. The last one is going to be pretty hard to get. I have a bit driver, which is pretty low profile, and that's the only thing I have that I can actually fit in here. Once you get that screw out far enough, you might be able to reach it with your fingers and remove it the rest of the way. And there it is. Blower motor should drop at this point. Push the wires out of the way. And this is why we had to remove this spacer here, this ring adapter, because that gives you enough clearance around this cutout to pull the blower motor out. And there it is. To To finish removing the adapter ring off the blower motor, there's one more T20 screw. We'll remove this, and that will allow you to separate this. There's the blower motor, there's the adapter ring that we're gonna have to transfer over. So take your new blower motor with the adapter ring, and you'll know how to line it up because this vent needs to line up with the adapter, just like so. It's got a little lip that needs to fall into position. Perfect. Just press it on all around. And we'll secure it in the same spot that we removed the bolt or the screw from the old motor. Just snug it a little bit. It's threading into plastic and you don't want to damage it. Take the new blower motor and slide it into position. Just be gentle with it. Of course, watch out for any wires that might be in your way. There we go. You gotta just angle it just right for it to slide in. All right, got it. So now you just have to position it with the heater box, line it up. And what I recommend is, of course, having some of the hardware accessible, ready to go. And you're gonna wanna put in the front screws first. That way it'll hold it on. That rear one is going to be the most difficult one. So you're gonna need to really have it secured in there before you attempt that one. This is partially secured over here. I'm just gonna snug it up with the ratchet. All right, that bottomed out, tiny bit extra, that's it. You don't wanna strip out the plastic insert or it will never get tight. And that's gonna be a problem because it threads directly into the heater box. I know another one was this one right here. And looks like the adapter ring has moved a little bit. That's okay. It'll get pulled up with the screw once this starts threading it in. And that's tight. Now, there was supposed to be a fourth screw here. Mine was missing to begin with. So if you have four, put in all four, but all I have is three. And then with my bit driver, I'm going to try to thread this in. This is going to pull the blower motor up in the back, up against the heater box. All right, that got tight. So that's it right there. Now if you had a fourth one, you would put that screw right here. Once again, mine is missing, so I'm gonna have to just leave it with the three that it has right now. Let's plug in the wire. Our transfer case control module goes in next. Line it up over those two studs, just like that. Put the two mounting nuts on. And tighten these up. Not too much, just snug and a little bit extra. And that's it right there. At this point, you can plug this in if you'd like to. Good part about all of these connectors is they all only fit in one location, so you can't mix them up. Also, the wires will kind of just lay back down in their original area and follow their original shape. Once these are clicked in and locked in, it's time to put the body control module back, move all the wires out of the way. This tab right here needs to fit right into that opening. There we go. Make sure you're not pinching any wires. And before I move on, I'm going to bolt it on to the front, secure it to make sure it's not going to move. Same with this, snug and a little extra. And now we have to plug everything back in. I'm just going to start from the rear because it's going to be the most difficult to access, and gonna work my way towards the front. Make sure everything you plug in is clicking and locking in place. All right, that seems to be everything. In my case, I had a little fuse tap that went right in here, so I'm going to plug that in for some sort of accessory on this truck. And that causes this cap not to close fully. That's okay, that's how it was, so that's how I'm gonna leave it. At this point, everything is resecured here, so let's cover it all up. Put the carpet back down. And reinstall this kick panel trim. It's got a few tabs that it needs to line up with. And if you removed the weather strip seal, lay that back down. And this cover most likely popped off, so resecure this.
Now let's reconnect our negative battery terminal. Make sure that this is loose enough to be able to go all the way down. Once you've driven it as far down as you want it to be, tighten it up with that 8mm wrench or socket. And I don't want to go until this stops just enough to not be able to spin it, even though this isn't fully bottomed out or anything like that. You don't want to stretch out the terminal. Also, if there's any corrosion on these connections, you want to make sure you clean that off. Mine are clean.
All right, job is done.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.